What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles welcoming you to another edition of Lyles Movie Files. Of course, I'm here, Jeffrey Lyles. Joining me, as always, is little brother Jace Broshot. How are you on this fine evening?
I watched Ahsoka, so I'm doing good. Just be real.
Just want to jump right into it, huh?
I'm good.
So, you're probably not hearing me, are you?
Who?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I got some weird alert that it was not popping up my mic properly.
No. JJ Fad. What's going on, Blake?
Wait! What's up? Now, Blake, how far are you on this journey of Star Wars, my friend? Riot Daily, what's going on? I'm one episode behind, but Eric is back. Nice. My friend, woo, this episode was something.
You know, the interesting thing is like when we saw that there was going to be like some limited run in certain cities, we're like, wow, that seems very ambitious to have a TV episode, not even the finale, like one of the middle episodes, have it go to theaters and not say, oh, the rest of them are coming too. It's like just this one. It's like, it's very ambitious.
Jamelin, what's going on? Just passing through, going to step out to avoid spoilers. Can we talk about this without spoiling?
Let's try. We can try.
All right, Jamelin and Blake. We're gonna try to make this challenge to ourselves.
Yeah.
To avoid spoiling.
Okay.
And we can do it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if we can do this.
Chief, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
Chilling.
We're in Broncos.
All right.
This is so nice.
We are going to talk about Ahsoka without spoiling what happened.
Okay.
Did you see it?
I did.
Okay.
How many times did you see it?
Just saw it the one time. What's up, Blake? So in order to not spoil it, let's just say, hey, we watched the episode, and let's talk about next week. Hopefully next week is good. All right. You know what I mean? What else can you say?
All right, guys. That's
you know what I mean? In order to not spoil it, I don't know how you can. You're gonna have to really lightly tread around the bush, and I'm used to beating the bush up. I don't tread around it. You know what I mean?
For all you fans out there.
What's up, Parks, man? What's going on, man?
Oh, man.
Age kid, what's good? So,
AJ is Green. What's going on?
James
Green.
All right. Oops.
Okay.
All right. Ryan said I got to step out for a little bit. Just saying. I did not like that episode. So Ryan is definitely in the minority. What up, 80s kid?
What's going on, 80s kid?
All right.
Whew. Let's get it, man.
Man, interesting, Ryan.
All right, Jalen. In the interest of making sure nothing happens that you don't see spoiled, because I can't control anything outside of what we say, you may want to bow out and check out the replay.
Yeah.
Just so nothing happens in the chat that I can't control. Just a heads up.
Yeah.
All right. Afton Child's in the building as well.
What's going on, Afton?
All right, so let's set the stage and then a warning for anybody who wants a spoiler. Ryan says, I'll try to come back later and explain if I get the chance.
Okay.
All right, 80s kid, to answer your question, I'm going to set up the episode and then I'm going to give a long disclaimer, buffer period. So anybody who doesn't want it spoiled can tune back. All right, so let's do it that way. All right, so last episode, it's great. I've been having this feeling for the last few. You mentioned the. I'll watch with my finger on the button. All right, I'll make sure to give you a big, broad warning before we spoil anything. And everybody in the chat, don't say anything else spoilery until I give you the all clear. All right. So, Jace, you mentioned that this show has done something unusual for a Star Wars Disney Plus show. They decided, you know what, this episode's so good, we're just going to put it in theaters. So if you just so happen to have it in your area, you might want to watch it on the big screen. And I can say, without a doubt, I really wish they would just go, here's episode 1 through 5. Have fun. Because I feel like I would have tried to find a midnight screening where nobody's in the theater and watch this thing. It's been so good. I keep saying this every week, week after week. I don't care because it's true to me. The show feels like Star Wars. Like, not a, hey, let's try to make it make sense for today's time, but Star Wars. And no, well, let's try to make this make sense. And let's do this. Let's try to update some things. And hey, don't fall for your heroes. None of that. It's just Star Wars. It's, hey, we're taking you to a galaxy far, far away. We're going to try to make it fun for you. And what they've done with it has been so cool. It's such a nice ride. And I keep feeling you could watch this show cold, but your enjoyment is like triple if you've seen Clone Wars, if you've seen Rebels, because so much more of it makes sense. And it's not even that you can't follow along the story. It's just there's a deeper level of storytelling that you're just not going to appreciate if you haven't watched Clone Wars or Rebels. Chief, have you caught up to Rebels yet? Have you finished it?
Not yet.
Okay. James says that's a good idea. Pay to watch it in chapter chunks in the theater. I really feel like they could have just said, here's episode 1 through 5, and check us later for episode 6, 7, 8, and we'll make it worth your while too. Because, wow. All right, so last episode, it was just stuff that we haven't seen in modern storytelling and pretty much anything in a really long time. Sabine had to make a choice. Do I hand over this map that we worked so hard to get just so I can accomplish my goal of finding my friend, Ezra? Or do I do the noble, valiant thing and say no and figure it out another way?
And essentially die in the process.
And Chief, what'd you think about that? I mean, actually putting it up there for the hero to make a choice, not just inherently the script says I must do this, so I have to do this.
I mean, I knew she was going. I knew she wasn't going to, destroy the damn thing. So I knew she was going to make that choice even before. I was like, okay, because if she destroys it, pretty much everybody goes home. We pack up our bags, and it's like, oh yeah, so good, that was quick. And then so she had to make the choice. I mean, even for the continuation of the episode, I think that it's hard to trust somebody who keeps betraying you, keeps not listening. Ahsoka keeps giving her chances, and she keeps throwing that back in her face. I mean, don't do this. She goes and does it. Hands it an orb. I mean, you know what I mean? If she had just went in the first place and be like, yo, let's go to my house with the orb, and she had figured out in front of everybody, all this would have been over. But she wants to be a loner. She wants to go out on by herself. She wants to do these things. She has a hard head about her, a independence, and it's just caused a lot of trouble so far in these episodes. Like I said, if she hadn't originally ran away and just taken the orb and like, yo, I'm gonna go to my house, I'm gonna figure this out, right? They would have been on their way to find Ezra second episode.
Now remember, she did try. I mean, she technically she found it. She opened the map.
She went on her own to open it though, Jay. No. She snuck out with that orb. She wasn't supposed to take it.
But but again, there's certain places your mind is like, you got a rooftop. You're thinking like, this is my thinking place. My rooftop is where I go to think, where there's not all the other distractions.
Okay, so then put everybody outside. But why would you go and sneak off with it? I mean, if you handed me something and you was like, yo, Chief, I need you to we're gonna do blah blah blah, and then you come into the room and I'm gone, and then the next time you see me, the object that you gave me, I'm like, oh yeah, I lost it. You be like, what?
So like you said, like that her with her personality is like Sabine has always been kind of rebellious. If you tell her what to do, she's gonna be like, yeah, nice call. Like, and that is something that's played out throughout all of these shows. It's like we're the rebels. We're not the government. We're not.
That's on Ahsoka then. See, I'm not a Rebels watcher, but if you know that's the type of person that you like, hey Jeff, you know the type of dudes I hung out with, right? So if we went like as I got older, I realized I couldn't take them dudes everywhere. So you have to, you know what I mean? Like you gotta be like, all right, I'm gonna go here. I want to chill. I don't want to get into anything. I'm not going to call so-and-so to come with me.
Exactly. But that is why when Harris says, I have an idea, you're not going to like it because it's you right here. It's like the only person probably thinks differently enough to open this thing is the one person you're going to have to, whatever boundaries you set are not going to be the boundaries this person's going to abide by. But this person will get the job done.
Man, but getting the job done against my wishes.
Have nowhere to use it, or you can give it to the one person you tell, all right, I need you to sit here right in front of me and open. And they'll be like, sure. But I'm going to go to the bathroom and you might see me tomorrow. But I'll open it. I'll get you what you want.
That's what you just said. You mean, like, so you just give it to her, she walks off, and then I'm supposed to be happy that you opened it. And like she's like, yo, you opened it. So where we headed? I don't know. I saw where we were supposed to go. So now, not only have we lost the orb, you've almost lost your life. Mm-hmm. Now we're chasing. We're trying to find these people again. Now, so we know it's just like it just spiraled. And now what happened once again? We spiraled. So we're just spiraling. And why are we spiraling? One person involved for the spiral. Like, just everything that's happened is because of this person's strong-willed desire to do things on their own, and that's what I think is Sabine.
Okay, I mean, like that very much is like in keeping with the Mandalorian. So it's like you're not going to tell them what to do. You can tell them, you keep telling them, but Mandalorians have been like everybody else in the galaxy is ruled by the Empire or Republic. Mandalore is the one like, don't try it. Like, we're not following in line. And that's basically how their whole system has been always. And again, Sabine is 100% somebody like, I am Mandalorian. I'm like Jango. I'm like Boba, not Rise of Boba Fett. Don, what is it? Whatever the heck he was.
I just said Boba Fett like Han. That's all.
Hey, Chase, Blake just put up the comment, but here's the thing, Blake. If she had opened it with everybody around, the general's forces, Ahsoka, they all would have went after Ezra.
No. I don't think even when I don't think, and you guys could all correct me if I'm wrong. Shocker. But when she opened the map in the first episode or second episode, did it actually show the other galaxy, or it just show like
it pointed to the galaxy that they were supposed to go?
Okay,
it pointed right to it. It was the same thing that they did with the just less technical with the robot doing the piecing of the thing, but it pointed right to the galaxy. Okay. All it would have taken at that point was a little bit more ingenuity, and the whole fleet could have went to find Ezra, kill Thorn or Thorn.
Right, so I have some thoughts here on this. It's much like a horror movie. If everyone did the thing where you're yelling at the screen like, "Don't open the door," they go, "You know what? I'm not gonna open the door. I hear all these creepy noises. I'm gonna go home." You'd be like, "This is the worst, most realistic horror movie ever," but it'd be a terrible movie. And I think with Ahsoka, what's great is Sabine, Ahsoka, Hera have the ability to make mistakes. And they have consequences and repercussions. It's not we're doing everything amazing because we're so strong. It's like, who cares? That would make for a boring story. And I think that's kind of like the underlying thing that Filoni's doing. Like, it's okay to have your heroes make mistakes because their road to redemption is so much more interesting than
like,
just everything I do is perfect and everyone's telling me how perfect I am. I mean, you saw Supergirl. Supergirl got really boring because everyone constantly told her, you do everything right. You're so amazing. She was like, you're right. I'm out. And then it was like, well, it's next to Alex. She's amazing. She's super. It was so boring. But here it's like, well, what the heck's Sabine going to do? She might not do the right thing. Oh, she really didn't. She gave this map over to the bad guys because she's maybe a little bit selfish. Maybe she's just that down and loyal for her fellow rebel.
Okay, like, I mean, not okay, because I'm using certain characters kind of my like guideposts for how long like this is going on. Like, so roughly at the end of Rebels, like this has probably been about let's say 5 or 10 years between end of Rebels and now. And during this time, the siege, I mean, not the, what did the end of Mandalorian?
The Galactic War?
Well, no. What the title of how when Mandalore got destroyed?
The Siege of Mandalore.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Siege of Mandalore. That is her whole family is dead. I mean, like, you got a couple people, like, you got Chopper, you got Hera, but it's like, you know, I was really close to one person. Everybody else I'm close to, or most of the people I'm close to, have either gone off and done their own thing because they got their own lives, or I got one person I've been trying to look for 10 dang years. I have it in my hand, my ability to solve this quest I've been on. I'm going to do it. Like, so, you know, that's just me.
No, I like what Sabine did.
I mean, I agree with all that. I'm not arguing that the episode would have been a couple minutes long had they done with the characters. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm just saying the type of person Sabine is, what I think of Sabine.
But then, like Jeff says, like that gives you. No, I'm saying this. I'm going to say it gives you that potential for redemption. But as you said when we were watching Lord of the Rings, after somebody does something like Frodo, you're done with them after the second mistake. So,
hey, listen, don't get me killed. Go kill yourself. And I don't mean, you know what I mean? And I don't mean that in a rude way. I just like, hey, don't get like, yo, go do your thing. I mean
that in the most polite way possible.
Yeah. You know
what I mean? Love to you, but please go do you.
Yeah, go do you, man. Don't involve me in this. You know,
I'm going back to the Shire.
Yeah, I like that.
Rosie. Exactly. So Sabine drops the orb, hands off the map. Balin's like, cool, we got it. Hera comes through to save the day, and she doesn't. So she's not able to make the big rescue here. And Ahsoka dips into the world beyond worlds, between worlds, right? That's the name.
I think it's one of those.
Okay.
I'm not.
All right. And there she gets greeted by a familiar voice who calls her Snips. And that's a nice callback because Ahsoka can't say to Sabine, you need to listen to everything I tell you to do, because she never did when she was listening to Anakin. And Anakin's like, listen, I'm really rebellious too. I don't pay attention to half the thing this Jedi Council's telling me. I listen to a shade more than Obi-Wan does because he gets me. So I understand. But you need to listen. She's like, yeah. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to do my own thing. So when Sabine is doing the same thing, Ahsoka's not going to go, man, I can't keep turning around for this girl, because she was doing the exact same thing. And she did step away. She pieced out for years, wherein Sabine felt alone, deserted even more so because one of her very few small crew has left her, abandoned her. One's dead. Another may as well be dead. One became a parent, so that's a whole other level of responsibility. She can't hanging out and doing things. And
she can't go searching for Ezra. She's a general. She's a general in a structure that doesn't let you just go fly out looking for your lost friend every day.
Right.
Like,
All right, kick Green off the podcast. You're gone, Green. You're gone. You know what I mean?
We're all trying to let that go on him, Green.
You're banned until October. I don't want to see you here till October. You know what I mean?
Seems like the classy thing to do would be not to call attention to it. And I appreciate you repping your squad, rocking the Giants hat, even in defeat. That is a proud fan right there. Do it.
It is
Well,
what it is.
I thought it was like good because it's just like how you have like parents talk about it like, oh, just wait till you have kids. It's like as a master, wait till you have an apprentice, and it's like, hey, it's every like you got Qui-Gon, he's got Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan that's Anakin, and it's like, this is what y'all have. So it's fun. So I was like, oh, now I understand what Master was when he was trying to get me to do X, Y, and Z. That was a good callback.
We're not in spoilers yet.
That's not spoiler.
Not you.
Oh.
So we get the big showdown, and now for everyone who's watching, who hasn't watched the episode, this is your big warning. We're about to go in detail with the episode. So James has another question. My team is the Texans. We're in the same boat. Hey man, you got D'Amico Ryan, so I know eventually he's going to write that ship for you.
Hey, your quarterback looks good. Honestly, getting 200 yards, that's better than my $250 million quarterback. So good luck on that one.
Blake says, imagine if Thrawn has gotten a hold of Ezra. He's gone to the dark side. But see, the interesting thing about that is Thrawn shouldn't have any sway over Ezra going dark because he's not Sith at all. He's not Sith.
The thing is, like, Thrawn is not bad. I mean, it's like he just thinks almost the Empire will do what he needs them to do. I mean, it's like, I mean, it's always this weird thing. It's like there's the extended edition Thrawn, the book Thrawn, like current day Thrawn books, and what we have in Rebels. Like, and since I mean, kind of they use there's a part of Rebels that they use in the modern books. I'm assuming Thrawn is just, hey, I'm using the Empire just as much as they're using my military strategy. So I'm not bad. I just have a different way. Like, I think the Rebels are reckless and stupid. The Emperor, for all his failing, is a ruthless, get things done kind of guy.
I don't know what you're talking about. The Palpatine.
He's not tripping on dogma. He's like, hey, rebels, get out of my way. I got to protect my actual home world, my systems of worlds, and the Emperor's a better way to do it than you guys who have wait all that whole bunch of democracy isn't the best to really fight a war.
Clearly, we're seeing that right now. All right, so spoiler warning, we're going into the episode Shadow Warrior. So this is your chance. Countdown of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Shadow Warrior begins, and Hera, Carson trying to find where Sabine and Ahsoka are. And it's like, yeah, you have no idea. One's rolled out, another might be dead. Ahsoka confronts her master, and I think we all thought there was a little fuzziness to the CGI for Anakin last week, and clearly that was just an intentional thing to kind of be like, well, maybe not all everything's the way you think it is. So Anakin's talking to Ahsoka like, hey, I taught you this. You need to fight or die. And she's like, I won't fight you. And Anakin does I've heard that one before. And I love that because it felt like Clone Wars Anakin, where he's, sarcastic and funny and doing the whole thing. And he's not so serious like he has to be later as Darth Vader. He's still thumbing his nose at authority kind of. And she's like, well, okay, I won't fight you. But then she's starting to block his attacks and he's going through it. And it is like, oh, that's right. Hayden Christensen gets it in with a lightsaber and he's just swinging. And it's like, wow, I forgot. he's really, really into it. And like most of the time we're seeing everybody doing these cool. Really want to see like some live action Darth Maul versus Anakin Skywalker, because Ray Park versus Hayden Christensen would be an amazing, amazing live action duel on small or big screen, whichever one they want to go with. I'm not saying a preference. So then, they're fighting, and she's like, "What can you teach me?" He's like, "Well, actually, I can still teach you a whole lot." And then he drops her, he breaks the floor, and that is very much a Luke Skywalker strategy of fighting off Vader. I'm gonna knock out something, or his callback to Return of the Jedi when Luke's up on the gantry. Oh, you're there? Watch this. You're coming down to my level. See, Filoni's all on this. Hey, remember back in the day? Yeah, I do too. And here's this scene replicated here too. So,
but he also does a good job. It's like he's showing you these callbacks. I mean, like, especially when you see the writings, like there's all these callbacks, and none of them seem like these stupid pandering. It's like you get a smile if you're in on it. You have a smile on your face. You're like, oh, okay, I see what you did there. Good job, Dave. And like because Dave's the one who gave us the world between worlds. And he's like, hey, this is my playground. I can, there is parts you have to understand, watch Rebels to understand this world. But it's very much, it's like, this is not, everything is not as what you seem. Everything is not as what it seems in here. So being Ahsoka in here, like how last week we're like, is that really Vader? Is that Darth Vader's lightsaber? Is that Anakin's lightsaber? And we all don't know until we see him light it up. It's like, okay, that's Anakin. But then you're seeing him fight. It's like, dang, I forgot. Anakin's a very aggressive fighter. He's like, oh, you're not gonna fight me. Just like I heard that before when Luke said he wasn't gonna fight me. Gotcha. I'll make you fight me. And
no, Obi-Wan didn't want to fight him either.
Everybody who's trying to think they know his story is all said, I won't fight you. So like, yeah, okay, let's see what happens. So I like that brings that back.
He drops her down into the Clone Wars. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Dave Filoni's actually doing what I've always wanted to see since Hayden Christensen came back into the fold. And Anakin's dressed in his Clone Wars outfit. I'm like, oh shoot. And we mentioned this probably offline, off the show. He looked perfect in that outfit. He didn't look too old. It wasn't like we need to do some amazing CGI to make it look like he fits. I thought they could do that right now. And maybe they need to do a little funny makeup deal or CGI for, Ewan McGregor, but shoot, they can make that happen. And I was like, whoa. And he didn't skimp on it. He didn't make it a big, huge battle, but it was like, whoa, this really feels like the Clone Wars. Gee, what do you think about that scene in particular? We'll get to the next one in a second, but what do you think about the carnage of the Clone Wars and young Padawan Ahsoka?
It was all good scenes, man. Anytime a lightsaber gets ignited, I'm in. But I think that's what they should have done. In the first place, made at least 2 or 3 movies about the Clone Wars. You know what I mean, or just just they came a couple movies with the Clone Wars. And I think they failed us in that aspect. Because what we got was what's going on, Jace? I see you.
No, I was going to say, there's a part of me. I don't think they failed us. I think we failed. The fan base that didn't love the prequels kept them away from doing that. Because it's like you always hear somebody take a pot shot at the prequel trilogy. It's like, dude, you didn't like Star Wars anyway. Why are you acting like you like sci-fi movies? Shut up. But for some people, it's like for the people who now like, yo, Hayden didn't suck in that. You're like, if you guys had said that 5 to 10 years ago, we'd have got the Clone Wars. So I think that's on them, not on. I think that's on those folks, not the studio. Definitely with a studio.
I think that they just needed time, not the fans who were hating on the prequels, but just for Dave Filoni to build up the cachet for it's like, oh, okay, this dude can crank out anything. Like he needed to get through Mandalorian Boba Fett, oh whatever. So he could get the keys to Ahsoka and go, ha! Now I can do what I really, really want to do. And everyone who was with me from this Clone Wars journey and Rebels journey, I'm gonna blow their minds, just like even Gwen Stefani.
Great.
So,
That's true.
yeah. So Chief, I mean, young Ahsoka, and you know, I didn't want to go digging around because I hate finding spoilers out. But now I can tell you the actress. Just have to pull it back up again because they're trying to keep some stuff, you know, from getting out there, which I appreciate. Huh?
Somebody sent it to us in the comments.
No. Her name is Ariana Greenblatt, and you've already seen her. She played young Gamora in Avengers Endgame. Or, you know,
it's on your Instagram comments.
Huh?
It's on your Instagram comments. The Lyles movie.
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yes, that one. Yeah, I thought you were talking about here. But yeah, that was really cool to see her, and it was like, wow, you get a real appreciation for how young Ahsoka would have been during the height, the peak of those 3 years of the Clone Wars. That was wild. It's like, geez, this is like young Anakin coming straight from Tatooine going into a war.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think I had any understanding of it until that, like, they brought, it's like, oh, I thought she was like a, you know, teenager, 16, you know, going on 20. Like, they make it like, hey, remember those Padawans that Anakin had an interaction with in Revenge of the Sith? She's like a day after graduating with these guys. Like, so it was very like, oh, wow, she's a really young kid commanding armies. It's like, that was crazy.
Yeah. So it helps give a better sense of her trauma and why she was like, I'm not fighting in this other war. I'm sitting this out. Good luck, Luke, Leia, Han. I'm good. I've seen too much death. My mentor gone. My friends gone. I don't want any parts of this. Thank you, though. And so it's really cool to see her as an adult and knowing her full story now, or more of her story. And that was really cool. And then
Jeff, just want to say, like, in case anybody doesn't, that first Battle of Mandalore corresponds to season 1, episode 19 of the Clone Wars.
Oh, wow, thank you.
Yeah,
right on top of it.
I was like, ooh, I remember this.
Chief, you finished Clone Wars, right?
Clone Wars, the series?
Yeah.
No, you asked me that.
Oh, I thought you.
halfway through it.
Oh, I knew you hadn't watched Rebels. I thought you were done with Clone Wars. Okay.
You talking about the Mandalorian when she fought the Mandalorian? That was
no, not yet. I'm gonna get to that in a second.
You know, like when she's like the when we first see young Ahsoka, it's after a battle where she's like the commander of the army. Like Anakin gives her.
Was this the one where her? This is the one where she messed her squad up.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah, that's why she's like, oh shoot, this is that battle. Like, this is when we first started working, and I screwed up. Like she says in the show, it's like, yeah, I screwed up on my first command.
Yeah, 80. She was really good.
Yeah.
And that's not all. I mean, Anakin's like, well, we're not done. And I love the parting shot of Anakin in the Clone Wars general outfit. He's leading his clones in the battle. You just see his silhouette and his blue lightsaber. And Ahsoka turns for a second. And then you see the silhouette of Darth Vader. The lightsaber is red. It's like, that was great. And then it shifts back real fast. Really awesome foreshadowing there. And then we're not done with the flashbacks. We get another one. In this one, James was right. The flashback was great. It is the Siege of Mandalore. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Those are Mandalorian loyalists getting chopped up. Oh, wow. And then we get to see Captain Rex, who Afton Child was really excited to see. And so was 80s Kids.
Yeah.
Woo! Yeah, it was wild. I was kind of wondering if we were just not going to see, Tamara Morrison, because it was like, why do we got these clones bandages? But then it's like, oh, shoot, there's Rex.
Right, so cool. Did you see where you, like, in that battle when you saw the blue armor? That's what I'm like, yo, are y'all? I mean, you're gonna mention that's Captain Rex, and then you hear Tomorrow Boy's like, come on, General. I mean, Captain's like, that's Tomorrow. Like,
that was a close second geek out for me, like Luke and Mandalorian. I was like, oh, Clone Wars. Oh man. Oh, there's Anakin in the outfit from the show. Oh, there's Captain Rex. It was really cool. And I was hoping for it, wasn't expecting it. And oh man, it's just so great. Phase 1 is my favorite look in live action. You're talking about the Clone Troopers or the okay.
Yeah, that's the first ones, like in the first part about, or that's the 501st versus the second one when you're like way too many clones and they got all the different armors and different things on. So
yeah, so that was really cool. Chief, you weren't like familiar with that scene, but what did you think watching Ahsoka, older Ahsoka, kick serious butt with Mandalorians?
It's funny, man. I'm just watching the joy in your faces as this, as you guys talk about this, man. I can secretly see y'all.
I'll be missing you featuring Faith Evans, 112.
Oh, there's my goddamn.
Hi, Siri.
Siri, I don't know why the hell she's. Oh, look at this.
Whoa.
Always listening, Chief.
I don't even know where this hell this came from. Siri heard me talking, and the next thing I know,
Okay.
Hold on, I'm sorry.
stop it.
Okay.
We gotta be
trying to count 9 seconds for YouTube. Was like, whoa, you're playing.
Yeah, it's like, oh.
Music.
Yeah, the joint just look. We'll sue Apple for that. I've touched nothing. So look, Apple has to pay that bill. No, but I'm saying the pure joy on you guys' faces, man, when you guys talk about the Star Wars universe, man. I mean, you guys, he's read books and you guys study it. You know what I mean? You guys, yeah. When I tell you, you know what I mean? You guys excited, man. Like you eyeing a bottle of Jergens over there in the corner. Everybody's just like, yeah. So, me, I enjoyed the scenes, man. Of course, they don't have any that significant relevance for me. They're just action scenes. I know what's going on, of course. I knew that was Rex. The fight scenes. I mean, little Ahsoka. Cause I've seen some episodes of the Clone Wars or whatever. I just find, all that. I'm trying to figure out, was that all that just to get her to not die in the ocean? Was that the whole purpose of all that? Was she in between? Like, if she had chose death, would she have just sunk to the bottom? Or since she chose life?
Well, that I don't know if we're jumping, but that's kind of.
Well, I'm trying to figure out the relevance of those scenes.
There's stuff that happens in Rebels that kind of gets you to understand kind of how Ahsoka.
But why? But why?
All right, let me try it this way. From if you've only watched the original trilogy.
Okay.
So Anakin's thing is, I'm gonna fight, or prequel trilogy. Anakin's thing is, I've got to fight. I have to fight because if I don't fight, I'm gonna lose my mom. I waited too long and I got my revenge, but I couldn't fight to save her. So he starts going down this path of, I have to go this aggressive approach, which you see through his lightsaber approaches, his attack stance. He's always the aggressor. And throughout Clone Wars, he's very, oh, this is a threat. I'm taking this threat out. There's a dude that's trying to holler at Padme. He's like, oh no, I'm gonna take you out too. So he's always thinking, I've got to, because dude grew up a slave. He's like, I will never be in this position again. I'm going to see all the stars. I'm going to be the best Jedi. You guys are holding me back. I'm mad at y'all. I'm going to kill these Tusken Raiders because they're out. They killed my mom. I need to fight somehow to keep Padme alive. So he got raised in a war, basically. So he has the PTSD approach of a soldier who is like, oh no, the only way to win is to fight. So when the battle's over, when he's won, he's standing next to Palpatine, doing this, watching the Death Star. He's like, what am I doing? I don't have anything. Obi-Wan's gone, Padme is gone, the Jedi are gone, and I'm in this metal suit because I can't breathe on my own because half my body's gone. So he's like, this fighting never really worked out for me. But he's still really mad at the world. So he's still like taking out on
everyone. And then the world has betrayed everything he believes in since a kid has actually betrayed him. The only person who's actually told him the truth is the one who's lying the most.
He was aggressive, and his warped sense of things led him down his path. So he's like fight, charge, kill, murder, destroy, etc. But what happens is he does not know how to react to Luke approaching him with love. And he's like, what are you doing? Fight me. And so he is rattled by that. So when they're fighting, what tricks do I have left? Let me pull something for Palpatine, Maul, Dooku, everyone. Your sister. I'm going to take her. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. And Luke is mad for a second. He's like, no, what am I doing? This is why I hate part 2 of the sequels so much, because Luke goes, wait. Fighting is not the way to win. So he throws his lightsaber away. I am not fighting you. I love you, Dad. And that's what's happening. So his whole thing with Ahsoka is like, I need you to understand this, not from the perspective that you learned from me, but the perspective that I later learned from my son, who is really showing the way of the Jedi, is not to just fight, but to love the same way I tried to love Padme. And they were like, no, dude, you got to keep it a secret. She created this other form of resentment with him. So Luke shows him the love that he then in turn shows to Ahsoka. Don't fight. Fight for what you believe in, what you love, but it's not your end goal. So when she throws away the lightsaber the same way that Luke did, he's like, now you got it. Now you can go rescue Sabine, not from a fight and I've got to go save the world and be mad and go wander off to the bushes and hide out again, but embrace the love, the community that I've established with these rebels. So that's the whole point. And that's where it's kind of like, to not see their bonds in Rebels, it's kind of hard to appreciate why she cares about the Screws so much. But if you kind of just see the through line with Luke, and you have to focus on Luke, Anakin / Vader, and Ahsoka, I think you can piece it together. Jace, what do you think? Yes, no?
I think that's very a good summary of it, because it's, I mean, again, and this is what something I don't understand. It's like, I've never fought in war, thankfully. We're fortunate not to do that. But if you just watch some of the horrors we've seen in life, think if that was actually a reality, and that's your day-to-day reality. And then guess what? You're trying to focus on life. And that's why I don't understand why people complain about Obi-Wan. It's like everything that I have believed and been with my whole life is now destroyed or warped. I'm gonna feel a kind of way. Like my master might be around, but it's taking a toll on me. It's like I mean hell, we walk around like Veterans Administration. It's like some of them folks are not like stuff was hard, okay, and acting like that's not a reality is I think it's a short sighted. I mean, or just they don't have, a lot of people don't have a bigger view. But it's like bringing that to Star Wars, like you have somebody who's like, I've trained like this my whole life. I'm going to bring it to my apprentice, basically, who's a kid, like probably like a 12-year-old. This is also the life they've been dropped into. And very much all of my faults are going to, you've got all of my knowledge, but you're going to have all of my faults too. And because Anakin, like after the war, and this I do not know, and this is just my conjecture, is like basically after Anakin's spirit goes and says bye Luke, he goes basically hangs up in the world between worlds, and he's continuing like basically how Qui-Gon's lived on. He's doing the exact same thing, and he's growing, and he's like, all right, finally I can bring Snips in to correct my mistakes with you too, and here's the lessons I've learned. Like Jeff said, like, here's what I've learned. Go forth, and you'll be a better Jedi than I was. because my version of Jedi was great for being a general, as a warrior. I was great at that. But being all the things that I talked about in Attack of the Clones, where a Jedi is taught to love, I didn't really do that well. I need you to do that.
He wanted to. The whole war kept pulling him away from all that. And that's why he was so angry and susceptible to Palpatine's influence, because he had the power, but he had the balance that the Jedi talk about all the time, because he had the power and the emotional side. But the Jedi kept going, stop focusing on your emotions, focus on your power. You're the chosen one. And then Palpatine's like, well, that's true from a certain point of view, but you can still love. And because he's offering something that the Jedi refuse to let him have, they cause that super wedge with them. And then when Luke gives that back to him, and Palpatine's like, screw him, I'm going to kill your son. He's like,
no, I'm going to take your son. I'm not going to. No, it's like, thank you, finally giving me somebody who's probably on your power level. And now I'm going to toss you to the side. Good luck, Dad. It's like, and again, his son is still like, no, I'm still choosing you. Not what this guy is offering. I'm choosing to love. Make this choice, Dad. And Vader actually makes a choice. Like, shucks, the Emperor, never to be seen again.
Again. Yes. So that's where I guess we both think that was the whole purpose of that flashback journey for Ahsoka, Chief.
Yeah, and let's say this, and Chief, when you actually get to it, how we were geeked, I think, when you get to season 7 of the Clone Wars, you'll very much understand. That's like, oh, that's where this takes place. Like how Anakin's like, hey, I don't remember this battle. You're like, oh, you don't. Oh, really wow, that's right. This is the thing. This is where everything goes. Where Ahsoka's like, if I wasn't here, I would have stopped you from going to the dark side. And it's like, nah, you wouldn't. Because
she could have been Luke before Luke.
Again, kind of like in that, but that's kind of in Rebels. She's like, I know who you are. I can get you away from this. And he's like, no, you can't. I am Vader.
He's too far gone at that point. The only thing that was going to save him was Padme and his kids. Everybody else would have been, you don't understand all the stuff I have to deal with. Like, even Ahsoka's like, you can leave the Jedi, but at this point, if he had left the Jedi, the Separatists win. Who knows who wins? But he was actually needed in the war, and he could not have left. But Ahsoka would have said, "You can leave," and he's like, "I really can't." Like he would have been like, "It's too late for me." Like, sorry, you can't help me. He would do his duty. All right, so we get Sabine. Ahsoka then goes through a transformation with her wardrobe, thanks to Jason. Hey, no, I sense her, and Chopper can figure out where she is. I love that because Jason, is not being written like a super amazing kid who's awesome at everything just because he's a kid. He doesn't know everything. He's hiding behind Chopper like Hera taught him, and Chopper's doing the head stiff just to hide him a little bit more. But Jason knows something's out there. He hears the lightsaber battle between Ahsoka and Anakin. And Hera can hear it too, which is interesting. But yeah, Jason is a cool kid. They're not doing too much with him. And yeah, I feel like it's very interesting that Jason S still gets to be a cool character in the Star Wars live action universe. So they find Ahsoka, and Ahsoka's like, about Sabine. She's gone. And I thought Sabine might have done okie doke, recorded the whole conversation and had the map showing through her helmet, so Ahsoka could have followed her. But I was like, okay, that's not the way they're gonna go.
I like the fact it's like, no, she didn't have this grand, I'm out thinking the bad guy. I was like, no, I made this choice. I was not trying to give Ahsoka a chance because I'm assuming I'm gonna be the one that saves Ezra. So it's not a backup plan. I like that too, because I saw with the helmet, like when Hu Yang had the helmet, I thought, oh, that's how you're gonna see Ahsoka's gonna put on the helmet. It's gonna show her the map. I'm like,
Yeah.
but I'm glad they didn't make that call.
Really?
Yeah, I want Sabine's choice to have like not the double cross. It's like this is the choice I made, and
Okay.
I will redeem it. But it's not I'm smarter than everybody else choice, which would have. I mean, it's me. I think I probably would have rolled my eyes like, oh, come on, like let that choice have meaning.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. So, Chief, what do you think about Jason and the whole rebel fleet going, no, you're coming? And then they see the whales. It's like, you know what? Maybe you're right after all.
Space whales was a little weird for me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I get it.
Because I was trying to figure out what was that about, and then the jump, I was like, okay, so
The what? I'm sorry.
the jump into hyperspace.
Oh.
I was a little confused, bro.
you saw them in Book of Boba. No, you saw them in Mandalorian. Like when Grogu and Din Djarin are actually in the X-wing or in their fighter, you see a hint of them while they're in hyperspace.
That's not gonna matter there. That is a direct Rebels thing that would mean something of greater importance to you from watching Rebels. That's why I'm like, you can watch the show, but they can't, unless they were to do a pop-up, watch this episode of Rebels season 3, episode 20. You're not gonna get all this stuff. And I read somebody was like, I don't want to do homework assignments before watching Marvel stuff. And it's like, that's part of the fun of the serial. It's part of what used to be the joy of old school comic books. And it's like, oh man, this is great. And this connects to such and
Didn't they
such.
used to do that in comics? Like, hey, they do this. Like, hey, here's that bubble. Like, hey, if you want to understand this, where these people came from to get them in this situation or how they got here, read episode so-and-so of Teen Titans 19 or something like that.
Exactly.
Like, and there used to be like TV shows that like, I don't remember which one of them. It would just basically bring your bubble like, hey, this is where you can see this. It's like Ahsoka is very much like there is required viewing for a connected universe. It is just it's a serialized thing. You have to watch certain things. It's like, and that's why we kind of were telling everybody before Ahsoka starts, like, you need to watch Clone Wars and Rebels. Like you almost could skip the regular trilogies. But you cannot skip those two cartoon shows. It's like it's impossible. Like Jeff had like key episodes of Clone Wars to watch, and there's key Rebel episodes to watch before you and be like, I get it. Oh, I get all of this, and it's so much great. And I think Chief, where you come from, is like you enjoy it, but once you watch Clone Wars and Rebels, you're like, I get all this so much better. And the enjoyment factor is getting that kind of how that joy in your face, like, oh, that's that thing. You're like, oh, okay. The joy just comes out so much more, I think.
Yeah. Space wheels are still weird.
And Blake said, I'm only on season 1 of Clone Wars, and I saw the space whales. I don't remember them from Clone Wars, but
they're like the first episode is like Harry doesn't like him because she's heard about him. But it's like Ezra kind of is like, no, actually,
he said Clone Wars.
They're in Clone Wars. Maybe, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, again, this is kind of things like Dave was writing. Dave wrote Clone Wars and Rebels, and it's like he put Easter eggs in everything. He's like, hey, I'm gonna use this again.
We put a pin in this. I'm gonna come back to this.
Yeah.
So, and then we get there's just so much stuff from all the films where it's like, oh, I see what you're doing here. And this one ends with a really cool Empire Strikes Back homage where Hera, Chopper, and Jason are looking out in the distance, kind of the same way that R2-C3PO, Luke, and Leia were staring as Lando and Chewie headed out, and they said, "May the Force be with you." And Ahsoka is doing that with Hera, and we get another Empire Strikes Back shout out with the cave where Han, Luke, Han, Leia, 3PO, and Chewie are trying to escape. But Ahsoka and Hu Yang are trying to settle into the cave as they get ready to go rescue Ezra. So it's always a cave involved in rescuing characters in Star Wars. So that was fun. And it is like right before it's been with you, it's like, man, we're about to go to credits. We go to credits. And I'm thinking, what a great episode. So many tie-ins to everything from the original, the prequels, Clone Wars, Rebels, in a nice tight bow. You can enjoy it. You can watch it and be like, oh, that was pretty good. I feel like there's so many layers that you really get. And I feel like Clone Wars and Rebels may sound daunting. Shoot, we've got how many seasons? But it's really fun and doesn't play out like homework. So, yeah.
I was gonna say, I mean, I like how you were saying, like the last film, how they like they like in Empire Strikes Back, like you see Lando and Chewie, they split off and then they go their separate ways and like we got some hope now. Like this is like, hey, again, just like an Empire, it's been rough going. And at the end of the movie, it's like, nope, we still got some hope. We'll see at the end. May the force be with you. And I think that's why it would have been very cool to see that as the end. I mean, this is one of the few scenes I'm like, you know what? If y'all had actually wrapped this season on that episode and put it in the theater, I'd been like, I'll see you next season. Like that would have been good. That would have sucked, but I'd be like, I'll be back for it.
The Purgle from the Mandalorian season 3. Okay. Yeah. They've been springing up all over. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, when you guys get there, you're like, oh, and it does mean a lot in the shows. So, I'm with you. I feel like they could have just, this was movie 1, and then we'll see you in 3 more years, like true Star Wars movie, gaps for the second part. Like, this was a great movie cliffhanger. It was like, I felt like we got some really tough stuff going. We lost some characters we liked, and then we got this trace of hope as we get ready for the next movie. And really great stuff.
I mean, that was Star Wars. I think that's the easiest way. It's like that. This is Star Wars. This is not. I think when we were talking, it's like this is not interjecting real life into whatever you want to put your. And I'll say this. You know what? This is not somebody putting their personal agenda and stuff. This is like, hey, I have somebody else gave me the keys to their car. I'm going to have it. I'm going to wash it, put some gas in it, and put it right back in there when I'm done. This is not somebody else saying, oh, I'm going to spray paint in there and then put it in and park it in the middle of the highway and say, guess what? This is now your Star Wars. What? Like, no, this is somebody like, thank you for letting me have this. I'm going to treat it with respect.
Like, like some of these other people put NWO on the Star Wars license. 80's Kid says, my bet is the Filoni movie won't release until 2030. Well, the way the strike is going, they need to push it back a few more years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just great stuff. So here's a challenge. How do you rank? Now let's assume Ahsoka stays as good for the final 3 episodes. How are you ranking the live action Star Wars seasons? So it's not a ton of stuff, not including movies, just TV shows.
I can tell you the easy my lowest is Book of Boba.
Hold on, James. It better be, or it needs to lead to a long form Clone Wars live action series, and then we get a sequel.
Yeah. To answer your question, I can say the lowest is Book of Boba Fett. Like that's the in speech, speeder bike. Yeah, those guys went. Now, how the top of the list? That's where it gets a little dark. I don't think. Yeah, I have not seen Mandalorian 1 and 2 in a while. Those are really good. And they did once. I mean, I just reminded myself, it's like those actually got me excited about Star Wars. It's like, oh, this isn't a dead franchise that I won't care about anymore. So those are going to get very high up there. Now, Obi-Wan.
Hey, Jace, does Chief have a Gandalf tattoo?
I think he did.
Do I have a who?
A Gandalf.
You will
tattoo.
not.
Oh, there's no Gandalf tattoo. Because I wouldn't know whether to do the gray or the white. You know what I mean?
That's the choice, isn't it?
That's the choice. You know.
Yeah, if somebody has a Frodo tattoo, I really be like, we need to talk. This one's for Frodo.
Well, my Frodo tattoo is right next to my Roy Orbison tattoo. What Mama don't know won't hurt her.
All right, so how are you breaking this down? You did not answer the question really. You kind of did a little Larry Hines tap answer.
Because I always admit there are times I have the fallacy of newness. I think this has been better. I think because I like the characters that have been in Ahsoka more than getting to know kind of Din Djarin, Grogu, and all those. Like I've had years basically of expectations, and they're actually meeting it. Versus new characters. Hey, we're new. We're bringing something new to this table. I'm like, okay, I like this. So I think Ahsoka's my favorite. I mean, it's like the only thing that doesn't put Kenobi aside is because of Reva. If they just toned her down just 20%, I think I would have liked Kenobi a lot more. But trying to make her the second big bad was like, I think that was a miss to me.
What about the head cone of the Inquisitor?
That didn't count. I'm sorry. That was horrible. Look, I'm sorry. So you could literally have gone to the props guy from Revenge of the Sith. Hey, Grand Inquisitor is this species. Just where do we have the makeup and props? Just put it on them. Put some tattoos. Like not a big giant. Oh well, we think we know this. Like, how did you?
You know about prequels.
All
right, Chief, you want to go next with how you ranking them? I know you got Andor.
Who?
Andor.
Oh yeah, I've never even saw Andor, so that's not even gonna be in my ranking.
No light trigger, no watch.
I'm gonna go. Obi-Wan.
Is that your one?
Yeah. Mandalorian 2. Book of Boba Fett, and then Ahsoka.
Okay.
No, I see you with the eyes, Jason. Here's
Why?
why.
What are you talking about?
Here's why. I'll tell you why Ahsoka's last, right?
Okay.
Why
is Book of Boba Fett not last?
Ahsoka's been very good, but it's not over.
Okay.
So I can't rate it until it's finished, because we could take one giant big elephant turd at the end of this thing. We don't know. I mean, it's been good so far, but we don't know how it's going to end.
Okay.
And if it ends,
I know that.
And it's,
It's not Secret Invasion. I know that.
Well, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that if it doesn't end well, it's going down there. Now, if at the end of Ahsoka, and it still stayed there, it'll probably, like this level, it'll probably switch into my number 2 spot. Nothing's going to beat the fact that I got to watch a whole thing of Vader. It's just not going to beat it. I mean, this is why I watch Star Wars.
That was a good Vader.
Yeah, I love Vader. I love the evil of Vader. And he's a great role model. And for that point on,
not a role model.
to watch, I can't put Ahsoka, but I would slip Ahsoka probably into the number 2 spot if it stays this high. But anything with a good Vader, I mean, the killing, just kill for nothing. It was great. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Was Game of Thrones, it was 8 the final season?
Yes.
Okay.
That could. That's what I'm saying. Could go that final season, man. After all, what's the queen off? I forget her name. Cersei. She didn't even get it. You didn't even get a good death out of her. Just some rocks fell on her. Like, you know what I mean? What's old pretty girl from Fast and Furious? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? She the way she died, and then like Shorty just went wow. It just So listen, he's right. Up to that point, Game of Thrones was one of the best things you've ever watched. And then what did they do on the final season? Bring the elephants here. Yeah. No. Have them face away from the cliff. Yeah, we'll all be down at the bottom of the cliff looking up. 20 minutes later, what is all this? And
I mean, I will always say I like the last season of Game of Thrones. That episode where they're basically you have to adjust your TV to actually watch it. That was annoying. I mean, I enjoyed the idea, but that was like, am I supposed to be watching a TV show or just having my screen and listening what's going on? Like that was annoying.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But that shows you one bad episode, one bad season can ruin the damn thing for you. And
if they don't stick the landing, that will definitely.
Hey, and you know what you got to stick the landing in? A series, and when the pilot lands the plane, those two things are important. You know what I mean? That landing has to stick. So if you on that plane and the pilot's like, "Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to stick the landing," you are at that point, yeah. So
and a cheerleader on top of the pyramid. You gotta stick the landing too. Otherwise it gets messy. All right, so
where do you rank?
I'm gonna pull up 80s kids to see.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully listed them all out for me. So, and not including the movies.
Okay.
My number one probably won't change just because it brought back heroic Luke Skywalker. So Mandalorian season 2. I mean, that's not changing. Probably no, I'll eliminate probably. I got live action Clone Wars. Ahsoka's gonna be number 2. Number 3 for me is Mandalorian season 1 because, like you, I was real jaded and really blown with Star Wars because of the choices they were making on the big screen. And Mandalorian was like, oh, wow, this is possible. You can still make it good. So that really did a lot for me on that end. Next up is Andor because I love the whole political drama. Hey, this is how this rebellion is getting formed, and it is not pretty. And there's so many really great performances throughout the thing. I was like, wow, this is great. Like the episode with Smeagol and what's my guy's name? I don't want to say his name. I want to say his Avengers name. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about.
You're talking about Luthen.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
I was trying to think of his name in Avengers, but yeah, I mean,
okay.
that one episode was awesome, and like really like all the acting awards and nominations should have been flowing their way after that. Next up, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, Anakin Hayden versus Obi-Wan, really good. Like you, I had issues with Reva, and she kind of pulls the series down for me, but I really liked anytime Anakin showed up on the big screen. That was awesome. Next up might surprise you, I'm putting Book of Boba Fett not in the last slot because I got more Luke Skywalker. So I got Luke. Mandalorian doesn't take the last spot. I mean, Book of Boba Fett was the last spot. Mandalorian season 3 does take my final spot, not because I think it sucks, but just didn't have. I kept waiting for some big moment, and that was partially on me. But I was like, and then not having Gina Carano's character, Cara Dune, I was kind of like, Bo-Katan was great, but I really like Cara Dune in there, busting tails. I just wish they'd recast her, and lots of changes, but it was fine. Just my least favorite of them so far. So I think we did a pretty decent job wrapping it up. What do you guys think? Why do you rank them? 80s Kid gave us his choices for the seasons of Star Wars on Disney Plus. But let us know what you think. live action because I don't need to go down the rabbit hole of Clone Wars and Rebels. While you guys do that, let's talk about some of the news that's going on throughout the rest of the world of Hollywood and entertainment. Not too much because the strike is still going on. Are y'all surprised that this is still happening?
Yeah, I am. I'm just. I wonder what people, not of course the actors are good, the A-listers, but I wonder what these writers and everything are doing about their houses and these situations here. I mean, how long? This is like 3 months?
Yeah, I mean, we're in May. That started in May, so we're in month 4. I mean, yeah. Just like most people, it's like we don't. I mean, you have enough. We save enough for like 3 months of anything, and I don't know if your union tells you, hey, we might be going on strike, and this might be a doozy.
Yeah, have you ever been on strike?
I remember walking up with you when you guys were striking.
Yeah, but being on strike, man, that's an uncertainty, bro. And I remember, because the first few weeks you chilling, you know what I mean. You kind of sitting back. You've been paying for this thing for a while, so you kind of just like, I'm just gonna relax it out. You got your strike days when you do on the picket line, and you wake up and you got the big bowl of cereal with the big wooden spoon, and you just kind of like, yeah. And but this last strike was 2 months and 2.5 months. And I remember one of the dudes I work with used to call every day. At some point, he started calling every day. Hey, you heard something? What's going on? And my man was frantic. He was like, hey, and then look, my bowl of cereal started to shrink. It's gonna be a regular bowl with a regular spoon. You know what I mean? And
you started getting the sugar spoon for it.
You went from Frosted Flake to grocery store real quick.
Yeah, look. You're hungry, ain't you? That was the cat on the box said. So you're hungry, ain't you?
It was an alley cat. It wasn't Tony the Tiger anymore.
They're great. The other cat, you're hungry, ain't you? I'm like, damn, I guess I am.
What else you eating?
So it gets crazy, man, after a while. I mean, the one thing that happens during strikes, man, your bills don't disappear. Cable bill due, car note due. At the time I didn't have my houses, so the rent was due.
The rent's due. Don't give me none of that falling down the stairs.
Rent's due, mother.
I still had to eat. And it starts to squeeze in 2.5 months, man, of no work. I had money saved up, but at the same time, you just watching that joint just dwindle. It's that thing just shaking on down, man. That thing, it's starting to leave, baby. You sitting there, you in the midst of 5 digits. You in that thing like, we're cool. We cool. And then
you don't notice how much that number it's like once it just straight goes down, you're like, whoa, I'm used to that number keep it at a steady pace.
Yeah, I tell you, them 4 digits come quickly. You're like, hold on, 4-digit range. You know what I mean? And they negotiated or whatever, but I just feel bad for the people out there who aren't millionaires, who are struggling, who have kids and health problems and situations, because usually after 30 days or something, your healthcare goes out.
Oh, wow.
So now you don't have healthcare. You can buy healthcare, but the plan for healthcare was like $5,000 to buy healthcare. So that's what I'm saying. So when you go outside, you like, okay, the branches look sturdy. You making sure, right, you 10 and 2. You know what I mean? You don't want nothing to happen, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to happen to you. Even driving down to the strike line, you're like, all right. You at the turn signal, you looking, let me check, you know what I mean? You don't want nothing. I remember a cop pulled me over for speeding. And I was like, man, like I need a ticket right now. And but luckily cops are in the union. So I was like, look, I'm on strike, I'm blah, blah, blah. He was like, I'm gonna let you go with a warrant. Thank you, sir. Shout out to Howard County. You know what I mean? But listen, so yeah, man, it gets crazy, man. And I'm sorry that they're going through this, especially these cats have been making billions. Off the backs of the workers. You know what I mean? So and it's like that. It's always been like that. And it's just a damn shame, man, that y'all couldn't get something together to put food back on the table and roofs over these people's families again, man. It's a damn shame they had to stretch this way. Really, I don't know, by us going to the movies, are we still supporting those other cats? Like, should we be at this point in time stop going to the movies, stop buying these things, stop doing the things we do in support? Like, how do we, you know what I mean?
Well, Chief, I'm not sure. It's like when it comes to the movies, those are still based on the old contract. So if you watch a movie or something that's out, they should still be getting the residuals from that movie money, and they have already gotten paid their money on the front end for appearing in the movie. So that should be
not the stars.
No, I'm talking about everybody. Like
the
everybody
writers
should technically have gotten paid based on anything that's already in production and has been released should still based on the old contracts. Again, again, this is one of those things I do not know. Like, I have not seen any of these. I've never seen a.
Because once you're off the payroll at my job, I said with my job, once you're off the payroll, that's it. There's no y'all been working on this. Somebody's coming in, and y'all still gonna get some. Like I don't know.
Movies are movies are done differently. This is like, it's not your work. Day of work is all it is. This is in you. How I'm also like how there's just like basically you should be getting money as long as this thing is in circulation. You should be getting money. Like that's, but the problem with streaming is it's still in circulation, but your money is complete garbage. Versus, yeah, but
After
like,
Child wanted to
you
know,
get an actual money you can live off.
After Child wanted to know what day is it for the strike. It's 134 days now. It's going on for a minute, which is ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous things, Aquaman and the Last Kingdom is still apparently coming out to theaters. They've done 3 reshoots, but in the Lost Kingdom, sorry, I couldn't be bothered to actually get the proper name for this movie. December 20th, Chief. I know you got it circled on your calendars and are very excited about it. On a scale of 0 to 10, how hyped up are you? I'm sorry, from 0 to 5, how hyped up are
you? 0 being the least that I want to go see it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with a negative 0.
I really thought that one.
And again, the reason why all these things are getting such. I agree with you. It looks good, man. It looks good, but what are we going to go see it for? It leads to nothing. Okay. So no, it does look good. It does. Looks like some good fight machines. Like the Flash looked great, and I tell you, the Flash was decent, but it leads to nothing. Again, you've killed this world, and now with these standalone movies, if they weren't part of a system, we could go and enjoy them.
Okay, right? let me ask you this. If James Gunn and Peter Safran do not make that announcement, they're killing this universe, would you go see this? What would be your expectation if you didn't have that knowledge?
Well, I think it would have been a better movie. For some reason, I think this is going to be, although it looks visually great, I think it's going to be some cut. Listen, it was supposed to come out whenever they start backpedaling on a movie. We're going to come out this way on the 24th, 2022. And then you're like, okay, bet. And then yeah, we're gonna push it back. You start to know. You're like, okay, all right. So
I mean, let me say, Ant-Man initially was pushed back because they couldn't get a writer.
The last one,
the first one, like they had struggles to make Ant-Man. Ant-Man did not come out without a.
But you're talking about Marvel and Marvel's heyday.
Yes, I am.
Okay, we're talking about DC, and DC has never had a heyday.
I mean, Wonder Woman 84 basically kind of like
what?
I kind of sealed it. You're like, hey, we're gonna have to do reshoots. You very much know what you're in for.
Yeah, that's right. They pushed that Wonder Woman back, and that Woman was trash. And matter of fact, it was if trash had children, and those children were being raised up as trash. And that was Wonder Woman 1984. And I remember sitting in the theater because I was excited. I was like, man, this young.
You went and saw it in the theater versus staying at home?
Wherever I saw it.
Remember, that was in the pandemic.
Then I saw it at home then. Wherever I saw it, I remember being excited about it.
On Christmas in theater.
I was excited about it. I remember wherever. But I got big screen TVs. It's almost like a theater. So I'm watching the joint, and I just remembered watching this joint thinking, this joint is trash. This joint is trash. This is trash. And it was trash not from like the middle of the movie. It was trash instantly. And then, you know what I mean? And then she actually allowed another man to be her dude. Listen, what part of the superhero game is that? Where a dude is trapped in your person is trapped in the person of another person, and you're like, you know what?
Okay,
I'm cool with this.
And
not only the World War II was in the 1940s, so we're talking 40 years later.
No, that was World War I. They didn't want to confuse people after they saw Captain America.
Oh, World War I. So World War I. So we're talking what? That was 1912, somewhere in there. So now we're talking, 60 years later. You haven't seen this dude, or whatever the case may be, and it was trash. So yeah. So now Aquaman is pushed back. What are we gonna get? Trash. There's no, and then there's, like I said, there's no basis. Once this universe is over, we've got 6 different Batmans. We've got 6 different
Jokers.
Yeah, the Jokers. We got Joker the musical coming out, bro. The musical. Where are we with our lives right now, man? This makes you get up and question what have we done with this universe? Why is my life like this?
Why's my life like this?
So yeah, man. So I'm not looking forward to Aquaman 2. And then when was Aquaman 1, Jeff? How long has it been? Honestly, 4 years? 5 years?
I want to say 2018. I'm sorry.
20
well, let
years.
me just check.
So 5 years, bro. Are we literally?
It was 2018, Chief.
5 years for the sequel, bro. You know what I mean? If you could pick any amendment you want, which amendment would you pick? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 years is when the last time Aquaman is graced. They don't even care. Like, that's what I'm saying. They don't even care about you. Jace, look at me, man. They don't care about you. They don't love you, Jace. It's been 5 years, man. 5 years. Think about your life 5 years ago and think about where you are now.
Well, here's the deal. It's like, the sad thing is, if you trust a movie property, you should be like, hey, we can get this done. Like, I wrote probably 3 scripts. Like tell me where we're going. I can write this thing, my trilogy. If you tell me I got 3 movies, I can give you 3 movies and tell you when I'm. But I wrote the first one. I have a pretty good idea where I'm going with the second, and here's my big conclusion in the third movie, where I kind of know where I'm going. I can sprinkle in your connected universe stuff in this, but I think I know where I'm going. Aquaman, you're like, all right, what's the next thing we're going to do with Aquaman? I mean, it's like, all right, he's the king of the sea. So what do we have to do? Like, and it's like you're bringing back Ocean Master. It's like because we need our bad guy from the last one. Why? Like, I mean, again, Ocean Master. I mean, our Ocean Master looks like our traditional Aquaman. Are we just going to drag him through the mud again for no reason? Or like, no, we don't. There's, and I really don't understand why we need a second Aquaman. It's like if you knew, hey, we don't have our Justice League movie. Like, we don't need what our standalone to our second movies if we don't know where we're going to big property. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, it's like, so Wonder Woman 84, it's like, all right, what are we doing with Wonder Woman 84? Well, she's going to be in 1984 and they'll have the costumes. And then, well, so why is she back in 1984? And no one's ever and no one remembers her from 1984 when everybody sees her the first time in 2008, 10. No one remembers Wonder Woman.
Nobody says that. She just doesn't do anything.
Batman pulled up a picture of her from the First World War. Why would he pick up a picture of her from 84? That's what I'm saying.
The Suncoast video cameras weren't working that day.
Mall security works pretty dang good.
You know what, man?
I mean, seriously, she takes a whole mall and spins around. Nobody remembers. No one remembers this person.
I was in DC.
Superpowers that no one has ever seen, and it would be an urban legend. Yeah, I remember seeing Wonder Woman. Yeah, I was in Landmark Mall, and she was all. I was right by the KB when she was in there. Nope, no one else told that story.
I was in DC when they were shooting it, and they kept running these 1980 cars up and down the street. They did. So I stood outside the Starbucks and I watched them. It was right there at the mouth of Georgetown on M Street. Mm-hmm. And when I was watching the cars, they were driving up the street, cut. Everybody pulled back down the street, drive up the street and cut. And I was like, they did like 15 takes of 3 cars driving up the street. And I remember thinking to myself, this is going to be garbage. This movie's going to be garbage. And you know what? I was right. And Aquaman, look at me. It's going to be garbage.
Oh, I don't doubt it. Jace, what was the trivia you popped up there?
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, in bad Wonder Woman trivia, Pedro Pascal was actually in the pilot of Wonder Woman that wasn't even greenlight the series. They actually did the pilot and just like, nope, we're not taking. No one was trying to buy this. Only one who thought about airing it was NBC. And even after that pilot, they're like, nope, not touching this.
So it was garbage. Have you seen the pilot?
Oh, no. I mean, the fact that they had like, I'm trying to think. If you remember Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the one who played Bobby, she was Wonder Woman.
I know Adrian Pudlick. She's in the show I like with Chris McFarlane, the Star Wars joint, Star Trek joint. He does. She's his second in command.
Okay, I didn't know, but yeah, she was. It was like when they announced her as cast, it was like, oh, okay, that would work. And she would have been like, if that pilot had actually gone on, we would not have seen any of the Arrowverse because that was right before. That was like right after Smallville ended. And that was going to be the next one they were going to go with. So
I think that was 2011.
I would have watched that.
I mean, it looked again. It's like, oh, that looks like if you were going to do it with somebody who looked like a Wonder Woman, like, okay, cool. But
you're right. That was 2011. Arrow didn't start till 2012.
Yeah, like that was going to be that would have been the death of the Arrowverse before it had its first breath. Like, not cool.
You failed this network. All right, well, it's that magical time of the week. Who are your nominees for Dummies of the Week? Jace, start off.
Yeah. All right. Well, my Dummy of the Week is our usual award winner of Dummy of the Week, Mr. Yay.
What did he do this time?
So this week, Mr. Yay is getting sued from one of his contractors because he fired him. The Yay fired the contractor because he did not want to create a house with no windows, no electricity, and make a bomb shelter in Malibu. Now, most places you see Malibu, you don't think, this would make a great bomb shelter. It's right like off a cliff, like overlooking an ocean. This is a perfect place for my bomb shelter.
Unless the Mandarin is coming after you.
Like, I mean, unless you think it's Walking Dead season. I mean, Fear of the Walking Dead, and you don't have an escape valve. But what do I know? Oh, that would be Kanye. Yes, that would be the artist formerly known as Kanye. So yeah, he decided he wants to make a bomb shelter and destroy his old house by making a bomb shelter in Malibu.
That doesn't even surprise me anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you see your star starting to lose it, and then you just be like, I'm not even surprised, man. That like that Friday show when Chris Tucker was in Debo's pigeon coop, and you just like, that's not gonna surprise me. You're gonna walk past and see your favorite star in the pigeon coop cooing. You're like, yeah, I know this coming. You know what I mean? Like Britney Spears, she does those weird videos.
Oh, man. Honestly, as I always do, if you want to watch something hilarious, watch Britney's Instagram, but don't turn the music on.
Yeah, but you like that. Does it surprise you though? You're not like, what is she doing? You're just like,
Oh, it's like, I mean, it's very much like, okay,
yeah.
Day ends in Y, okay,
like Antonio Brown. You're just kind of like, yeah.
That checks.
tracks.
All right, my nominee has to be the NFL because despite two players from the 49ers, Nick Bosa, Solomon Thomas, and your guy, Saquon Barkley, tearing ACLs on the turf field at MetLife Stadium, they were like, no, this turf field is pretty solid. And then when Aaron Rodgers goes out there, they make a statement. There's no study that's proven that turf fields are worse than regular grass fields. It's just not correct.
I'm sorry. Everyone here who's ever played on turf, raise your hand and telling me how much that crap sucks.
It's a lot different than playing on grass. I can tell you that much. And the worst part is the NFL is in these stadiums are converting the stadiums, the fields to grass when the World Cup games are going to be played there.
Because there's nothing wrong with turf except all the evidence that could actually prove that turf sucks.
I'm gonna tell you the crazy thing about that is this season they changed the field, the turf on the field to a turf that gave. It wasn't interwoven. It was
right.
Just and so that's the crazy part. I remember when they changed it because we lost Sterling Shepard and we were just losing players left and right. So the Giants were like, all right, we're gonna change the field. And then, but I think honestly, Rodgers wanted out. I think he saw that he's looking over the field and he was like, man, what am I doing here? And I think he just laid down, man. I'm hurt because he got up. He was kind of standing around for a minute. He was looking around like, do I really want to be on the Jets? I'm gonna sit down.
I mean, when I was watching, I'm just like, this is 4 plays in. Like, I mean, if you're you're a franchise like, oh man, we think we got the dude, and you're like, 4 plays later. I text one of our Jets friends. He's like, yeah, I'm not surprised. It's like, it is what it is.
Now, my dummies of the week, man. I'm gonna go football again, and I think you guys know where I'm going with this one. The New York Football Giants, man. You guys had the schedule came out like 5 months ago. You knew who you were playing 5 months ago. It was no secret. Dallas did not just they passed around a hat and you picked the name out the hat and were like, damn, it's Dallas this week. You knew it. You've known it. You've known it through training camp. You've known it through OTAs. You've known it for a while now. The coaching staff did not put the starters in for preseason games. We did one series of preseason. And then they was like, you know what? We got that one series in, going out there.
You guys really only did one series?
Starters did one
games.
series in preseason, bro. One series. And then we threw them out to one of the greater defensive teams in the league.
Is that because y'all didn't have Saquon that you decided Dante?
Saquon has been there from the beginning, sir. He did not play it down.
I was trying to give you something. There you go.
He did not play it
I
down.
want that bone.
They did not pick who they wanted for the left and right guards till the week before the start of the season.
That's a choice.
The offensive line coach, they call him OG Bobby Johnson. I call him Garbage Bobby Johnson. How long does it take to teach your offensive linemen to block stunts? So you're in every day, these guys show up for work, and you're like, those look like good blocks. They were lost on stunts. A man came through and jumped between the guard, right? And the guard could have blocked him or another dude. The guard missed both blocks. Field goal blocked.
Oh gosh, that was what happened.
Gawinski, who's our right guard, had, what did he give up? 7 sacks? No, it wasn't all on him. He gave up 3 or 4 sacks. Basically, he had a 1% PFF rating. 1% PFF rating in pass protection. Bro, I could have got on the field and just got in Alabama's way long enough to give Daniel Jones 2.5 seconds. I'm just gonna get in your way. That's it. Just give the quarterback 2.5 seconds. Listen. Our number 7 pick last year, Evan Neal. This dude, they were running around the dude like, I remember watching. So people kept putting on Instagram. He kept putting on Instagram or whatever. I'm out here working, y'all. And he was working with other retired NFL offensive linemen who teach the camps and whatever. And he's out there and he's like, I got a new stance coming. The season's going to be great. And you're like, yeah, all right. Get out there, Evan. Do your thing. And Evan Ole Neal. Ole! And I'm telling you, man, they were running to the left of him. They were running around the right of him. And not just Micah Parsons, not just the starters, the third string. The third string. They got on the bench. They got on the bench. The Cowboys was on the bench, and they were doing Oprah. You get a sack. You get a sack. You get a sack. This is what they like, bro. We were at home. That's the other thing.
It was raining at home. I'm like, how long would you have stayed at that game?
I would have left first quarter because I could have saw, like, we were up 20. They were up 26-0 in the first quarter. That's it for me. And it was raining. I'm not gonna sit out there in the rain and watch a subpar product put on the put on the field, man. That's just horrible. They were horrible. They were embarrassing. I have to go to work, man. I have to go to work. I don't work from home. People are waiting for me at my job. You guys pull up in your mansions and it's all good. You got paid. I have to go to work. There are people waiting for me at the gate when I walk in the morning. 40-0. That means you didn't even throw a punch. You went in there, you got popped in your mouth, and it happened continuously while you just sat there with your hands at your side. Talking about Mother May I. So, in essence, we've got a $180 million quarterback. We brought in one of the best fighters in the league, one of the best running backs in the league. We've brought in speed. And it's been 10 years since this offensive line did anything. 10 years, bro.
It looks like you had the stats there.
You're so rattling. This guy is.
I'm
had
done.
notes already.
Let us pray.
All right. Well, we were going on too long. So next episode is episode 300. This is 299. I guess next week we'll get into the most overrated TV shows, movies. We'll break it down. And anything else you guys want to hear us talk about, what Chief thinks about the Giants' next game. That could be good for another 5 minutes of fury, Blake. All right. Well, as always, thank you for hanging out with us on another edition of Lyle's Movie Files. I'll be back tomorrow doing a live on Thursday night. It might be 7 o'clock, so everybody who wants to watch the Thursday night football game and get in on the game and all that stuff. So we'll check it out. Blake wants to know, what about a movie this Friday?
We'll get back to you.
Yeah, I'll let you know, man. I got to go to New York Saturday.
Oh, so maybe not this Friday.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll schedule it up soon, Blake, because I have this movie that I think would be great for all of us to watch. So assuming if most of us have Amazon Prime, I may make that suggestion. I'll put it out for a poll on the Figure channel to see what everybody thinks.
Okay.
All right. And tomorrow I'll be back 7 o'clock for Lyle's Figure Files. But for now, this episode of Lyle's Movie Files.